So many men going for women from other countries. Well, let's take a look at the mindset of the American woman. Everything in her life is owed to her. If she does wrong, all she's got to do is make false accusations. If he's angry, if she's angry that he told on her, all she has to do, and every American woman knows this, is run around and slander his name. Pretend he's into children, pretend he's a rapist, or pretend he beats you. With Natalie Bollinger, did she ever claim that I raped her? No. Did she ever claim I molested children? No. Did she ever claim that I beat her? No. Did I ever threaten to do any of those things to her? No. But she was embarrassed because I told on her for her heroin addiction. The reason is because, well, much like that dude in the video just prior to this, he didn't have to do anything wrong to be accused of being a child molester, a rapist, a woman beater. He didn't have to do any of those things. All he had to do was tell his wife he wasn't going to give her the Wi-Fi password. Chloe Roma of Roma's Army Men's Rights. She doesn't fight for men's rights. She doesn't touch on the major issues. She doesn't bring up the fact that men are killed over those allegations. Men spend their lives in prison over those allegations. There's a guy named Will that I knew in Boulder. Couldn't see his kids because he was 17, his girlfriend was 17, and he got her pregnant. Then he turned 18. His parents sent her to Europe, pregnant. And then they claimed to the courts that she was out of the country for her safety. They told Will's girlfriend that he was in trouble for sexual assault. That was enough for his girlfriend to not have anything to do with him anymore. What she didn't know until her daughter was almost 15. No, her daughter was 9. Her daughter was 9 at the time. I remember that specifically because she was very small, but she's an adult now because this is many years ago. Will spent time in prison. He is a registered sex offender. He is a registered sex offender because his girlfriend was 3 months pregnant when he turned 18, and that's when his family, well, he went to them for help. He was about to have a kid on the way. He thought things were going to go good. Then her family sent her to Europe, ran around claiming that he was a pedophile or a bunch of other crazy shit. Now that he was 18 and they didn't consent to it. Meanwhile, there's less than a year's difference between Will and his ex. Why is she his ex? Because his parents said that he was being charged with sexual assault. They didn't explain to her that he was being charged with sexual assault against her. I had to tell her 9 years after the fact. I had to tell her. Who's the one that told me the story? Who's the one that let me know what happened with Will? Officer Abel Ramos. He said, I know Will. I knew him back then too. I knew his girlfriend. Yeah, It wasn't any kind of sexual assault going on there. It was a situation where nobody was going to listen to us. According to Officer Ramos, there was more than one officer that tried to speak up. This is before the Me Too movement. Officer Ramos said that he wanted to tell her. Her name was Nina. Nina, that was her name. Will's ex's name was Nina. Officer Ramos said that the law prevents them from letting her know what's going on. If he was to go tell Nina about the situation with Will, he would have gone to prison for obstruction of justice. It's crazy, isn't it? In the United States, all a woman has to do is pretend that you beat on her, raped her, or touch kids. Now, depending on the region you're in, she might also accuse you of wearing women's clothing or being a homosexual. In Chapel, Nebraska, it's all about accusing a man of being a homosexual. You don't get what you want, you accuse him of being a homosexual. You accuse him of wearing girlies' panties. And people in town will make his life a living hell. He'll go to the grocery store someday and notice that people are all staring at him funny. And people with kids, they're pushing their kids behind them. What the fuck is going on here? Oh yeah. Some woman didn't get what she wanted right when she fucking wanted it, so she ran around slandering his name. You get to hear on Chloe Roma's channel, that lady who wanted to accuse her husband of molesting their children and rape. Well, she didn't outright accuse him. She told him that she would go tell people that he did that. She admitted later that he never touched her children. But that wasn't until he'd already lost his job, lost his career, because, well, she wanted the Wi-Fi password. That's right. That's right. He lost his job in the military. Didn't get a good discharge because, well, this dumbass didn't give his wife the Wi-Fi password. So she accused him all sorts of shit. She told him he was gonna. Or she told him she was gonna. If he didn't give her the Wi-Fi password, she was gonna accuse him of being a rapist and a child molester. And she kept her word to destroy his life over a Wi-Fi password. Over a Wi-Fi password. I want you to put that in perspective. I want you to imagine that your boyfriend didn't get the white. That's right, the woman's name is White. That's her last name. You didn't get the white message. You didn't get the white memo. See, she did something there that men can't do. Men don't get away with doing. People aren't taught that all women are rapists. Meanwhile, women are more likely to be sexual predators in this country than men. The people most likely to sexually abuse you are your parents in 80% of the cases. And 62% of violent deaths against children, it is one of the parents. 31% of the time it's the mother. 31% of the time it's the father. So they're pretty equal on that. That's only violent deaths. There's also the sheer quantity of non-violent deaths perpetrated by women. Apparently poisoning is not considered a violent death. Apparently, drowning your children in a bathtub is not considered a violent death. Here in the United States, women decide everything about dating. A man is supposed to approach you and let you know that he's interested in you, and you're supposed to decide yes or no. That's pretty fucking simple. That's simple. That's easy. That's not rape. That's not murder. It's a simple yes or no, but you can't tell a woman no. You can't even tell her no to something so simple as a Wi-Fi password without being accused of being a child molester and a rapist. How many of the women who offered to help me out in the situation after Natalie was killed, how many of these hundreds of women who got a hold of me on these Natalie Bollinger sites? They saw me in these Natalie Bollinger sites. Well, they weren't Natalie Bollinger sites. They were Sean Schwartz slander sites. And instead of helping me to put a stop to it, these women were doing the same things to the men in their lives. When they'd break up with a boyfriend, I'd get to see the post about how he's a homosexual who's into little boys and wearing girls' underwear. Or the, oh, he has a penis and it's tiny. Or, oh, he can't get it up. He can't get it up. You know what? For a man, getting it up is psychological. You could be the prettiest girl on the planet, but if you're psychologically revolting, yeah, I'm going to have problems getting it up for you. There are women who made false allegations against men because the men couldn't get it up. Oh, he has to take Viagra. It's his problem. It's his problem. You know, if he'd just take Viagra, maybe you'd be less pissed off at him because you'd be getting laid more. How many times have I heard those arguments? No matter how much he tells her, hey, it's not the Viagra that's the problem here. It's you. It's you. Anytime you don't get what you want, you throw a fucking tantrum, steal the fucking kids and go to your mom's. Tell her a bunch of fucking stories about what a horrible monster you are. How many of you guys have had to deal with that just this month? Where if you don't give in to an unreasonable demand, she's going to take the kids, go to her mom's house, slander the fuck out of your name, and keep on doing so until she gets whatever piddly fucking thing she wants. Like the Wi-Fi password. You don't go accusing a man of being a pedophile over a fucking Wi-Fi password. You accuse a man of being a pedophile over him fucking your kids. You don't accuse a man of rape over a fucking Wi-Fi password. You accuse a man of rape when he raped you. Now, we're taught that we're supposed to believe a victim because it's very rare for a victim to make false allegations. No, it's not. It is very rare for a man to make false allegations. 90% of allegations from women have been shown to be false, according to Facebook and Twitter algorithms. When 90% of the women on Facebook making these accusations are bragging about the fact that it's not actually true to their friends, they're being enticed into doing so by their friends or by their suitors. This is, in many cases, the men that they're cheating on their husband with. Oh, he's leaving me because I'm cheating. Well, hell, just pretend he beat on you. Say he likes to stare at the kids while they're in the bathtub. all creeper-like in the door. Well, you can't do that. Depending on the age of the kids, you might need to stand there at the door. If you're arguing with your wife and she's standing out in the hall and screaming, and the kids are taking a bath, and you got to keep an eye on the kids taking a bath, and you got to try to pay attention to your wife who's screaming, because really, when she's screaming, that means you have to drop everything for her right this fucking second. And how dare you ever scream? If you ever scream, ever back at her, you're an abusive mansplainer who's only out to rape and murder people because you're a man, and that's what mans do. Isn't that right? Fucking insanity. You're all fucking insane. Every goddamn one of you. Not just women, also men. Any man who goes along with this and doesn't speak up is not a man. We got a lot of women saying, kill all men. We got a lot of women saying that really, they're pissed off because they didn't get what they fucking wanted from men right when they fucking wanted it. The majority of these women were never raped. They're going to push that to the ends of the fucking earth, though, because, well, we've taught American women to be the most superficial people on the planet. Jamie Curtis was not rich. She married Mark Cox. He was rich. She married him because she was fucking around on her, at the time, sort of boyfriend, the guy she thought she was in love with. His name was Patrick. She was fucking around on him, thought she was in love with him. She fucked around with him with Marcus Cox, ended up getting pregnant, didn't even know whose kid it was. Now, between this guy she thought she was in love with and Marcus Cox, who had a lot of fucking money and come from a rich family in Kansas, she went for Marcus Cox. Mark Cox was fat and ugly and has no teeth. I'm skinny and ugly and have no teeth. But I'm not rich. And Marcus Cox isn't rich either. He didn't know how to manage the money that he inherited. I didn't inherit money to manage. So who helped to raise Mark Cox's son? I did. Jamie even admitted to her son that I'm probably the only person who changed more of his diapers than she did. And it's because I did. I changed a lot of diapers. The thing is, I was never okay with doing childcare. Ever. I've never been all right with it. It has never, ever sat comfortably with me. Especially babysitting girls. If I'm babysitting girls, I certainly hope that there's a boy there being babysat too. Because we teach girls to be vindictive and twisted starting at day one. We teach them that they have to be smarter and manipulate the boys because boys are violent and boys are stronger than them. Well, on average, boys are going to be stronger. That much is true. But not all men are rapists and not all men are beaters. From what I've noticed in my lifetime, nearly all of the women I know are physical abusers. Nearly all of them. They're also psychological abusers. These women will beat on a man, throw objects at him that could kill him, while telling him that he has a tiny penis, telling him that he needs Viagra, telling him that he doesn't love her if he can't get it up, telling him she only cheats on him because he does this to her. And then, of course, every single reaction that you can have, every reaction, you're going to get called a narcissist for. You're going to be told, oh, two wrongs don't make a right. Well, you're sparing her the rod. She's allowed to beat on you, demasculate you, run around all your friends and family, and her friends and family too, spreading rumors that she knows will get you killed. Any woman who goes running around spreading rumors like that should be charged with attempted manslaughter. That is not a fucking joke. Should Natalie Bollinger go to prison for attempted manslaughter? No. She never accused me of raping or molesting anyone. Should Alicia Bollinger go to prison for manslaughter? No, she never accused me of raping or molesting anybody. Maddie Boa started that fucking rumor. And yes, Maddie Boa should be in prison right now for manslaughter, among other things. See, we teach men to be loyal. We teach women to be loyal to themselves. Then men eventually get sick of that. Oh, we're supposed to only take care of ourselves, but then we're expected socially to take care of women and children. We're expected to be Superman every fucking time. We're expected to be Captain Save a fucking hoe. And that hoe is going to go right back to that dickhead who fucking beats her and supposedly molests children. She's going to go right back to that guy who she said can't get it up, has a tiny penis, and wears girls' underwears and is into little boys. When that guy won't take her back, she's going to throw a fucking tantrum. American women are not like the other girls. Here in America, it's all about railroading whoever's easiest to railroad. If you can railroad somebody, it makes you look good. People hate men right now, don't they? We've been taught to hate men. Even men have taught to be self-hating. We get it shoved in our face about all our fucking privilege. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? 2019, women and men earned about the same, except that men worked 7 hours on average per week, more overtime. 7 hours. If women worked those 7 hours, they'd have gotten about $50,000 too. Now even though in both of those cases it was below $50,000 a year on average that Americans were making, both men and women, if women worked the same amount of hours, they actually would have made over $50,000. But we're just going to pretend that both men and women made $50,000 apiece, that women worked just as hard, that they worked the same jobs, the same physically demanding jobs. What percentage of spending did women account for? 80%. 80% of the spending in the United States are decisions made by women. That means if she's making $50,000 and you're making $50,000, you're making $100,000. That's average for a couple. $100,000. So that $100,000, we can find the percentages pretty fucking easy. If she spends 50% of that money, she's spending all of her money. Now, she's spending more than 50%, isn't she? She's spending 60, 70, 80. 80% of the spending. That means that, well, out of his $50,000, she's spending $30,000 of that. That leaves him with $20,000. She has spent $80,000 and complained to him, who works more than her and harder than her. She's complaining that she doesn't get paid enough. It's unfair. She's not getting enough. She's not getting enough. She's not getting enough. She's not getting enough. There's no reason to stick around when you literally can't do anything right. No matter what you do, it's wrong. If you yell back, you're a narcissist. If you ignore her, you're a narcissist. When is she most likely to hit you? Is it when you're yelling at her? When you're yelling back at her, is that when she's most likely to hit you? No, she's most likely to hit you when you walk away. When you shut up and are silent and are sick of her shit. And a lot of people want to type all this stuff. Oh, you don't need to be worried about a woman when she's fuming. You need to be worried when she goes silent. That's right, because when a man goes silent, it means he's fucking done. When a woman gets silent, it means she's going to do some really fucked up shit to you. She's going to go spreading rumors and try to destroy your life. Natalie Bollinger was fucking embarrassed. She didn't want consequences, so she lied. Claimed that I stalked her, even though the evidence shows otherwise. While you idiots play off like I couldn't take no for an answer. The one thing that you should have legal is assisted suicide for every man in America. If he wants it, he should be allowed. If a person is called mentally ill, they're not going to be heard either. They should be allowed. If a person is homeless, they're not going to be heard either. They should be allowed. Men, the disabled, and the homeless deserve the right to state-assisted suicide. We deserve that right. We are your lifelong victims. And then you pretend we're all predators when you do something predatory. And then you scream, kill all men. You are so selfish and unwilling to admit that you fucked up, that you lied because you were angry. And rather than fess up to it like a grown adult, like you want to play this responsibility bullshit. I don't know a woman at all. There isn't a single woman I know who I can count as a responsible adult. Not one. You know why so many pedophiles and rapists get away? Because 90% of the time when a woman makes an accusation, it's bullshit. You taught all women to fucking lie about that shit when they don't get what they want. A man can't walk down the street without getting gawked at like he's a fucking perv. Oh, wait, if he's good looking, then it's fucking different, isn't it? If he's good looking, you can spread your legs, get pregnant, divorce him, and take all of his shit. Jamie Curtis tried that with Mark Cox. She did not end up rich because it wasn't Mark Cox's money. It was his daddy's money. And what happened with the guy she was supposedly in love with? Patrick Swan, he married somebody else. He was the good-looking one, the dreamy one. Jamie told me, you know, the way I hooked up with Patrick Swan, he said, you want to fuck? Whew. How well would that go over if I said that to you? Does that tell me that it was a love thing? No, that tells me he wanted to fuck. He wanted to bust a nut. And that's what she was into. Just like Amanda Engeline. Yeah? And Lana Engeline and Jerry Sparks. Penis is super important to those women. Getting laid is super important to those women. Also, helping predators get away is super important to those women. All of the abuse that Jerry Sparks claimed that she was going through, that I helped her move out of abusive men's houses 7 times for her to go back to 3 of them. I mean, bouncing back and forth between 3 of them. Did she ever pay me for that? No. Did I ever pay her for that? Yes, I paid for a good portion of that to the best of my abilities. A lot of people pooled their money out to help her out. Just like a lot of men pooled their money together so that Jamie Curtis can get herself out of James Payton's house because James Payton was abusive and was hitting her. That was according to Jamie. And although it's happened in South Dakota, everybody in Chapel, Nebraska knew about it. Everyone. That's how I ended up with so many recordings of people in Chapel, Nebraska talking about it. Like Chris Stegeman, Dallas Richmond. Todd Rust is a coward. I want to point that out. But he plays Christian. That's Dallas Richmond's, well, one of his ex-father-in-laws. His real father, on the other hand, is a registered sex offender. Just couldn't keep his hands off his own fucking daughter. You reward shitty men, and you shit on the good ones. And then you complain that there's no good men left. The women who like to paint on their faces want to talk about how pretty, how pretty, how pretty, how pretty. The gold diggers, the Kardashians of the world. And of course, if we look in her direction, then we're rapey. Then we got fat women who are complaining that men won't approach them, men won't date them, men won't nothing. Why the fuck would we? Why would we? We're not required to be attracted to you. If I find fat to be repulsive, then I find fat to be repulsive. If I find skinny to be repulsive, I find skinny to be repulsive. It's about preferences. Should a white man be required to date a black man if she thinks that a white man should give her a chance? Is he required to do so? Her preference, if it's white men, not black men, is other portions of society gonna try to push white men to go date her? Hey, you're a white guy, why don't you go date her? Well, maybe that man has preferences of his own. Maybe he doesn't want to date a woman who's racist. And if he says no, he's going to get treated like he's racist for saying no. She's the one being racist. She'll only date a white guy. A lot of women have told me that they'll only have sex with black guys because black guys make it fun, whereas when you have sex with a white guy, he's usually real timid, thinks he's going to get in trouble. Well, there's a reason. There's a reason for that. Now, you as a little white girl throwing yourself at a black man like a $2 hooker, he's a lot less likely to think he's going to get in trouble than if he's macking on girls in the hood. To them, he's just another guy. To you, he's exotic. Does that mean that a black man owes it to you to date you? Let's say he's not into white women. Let's say he's not interested specifically in American white women. Let's say he doesn't want to indulge in your fantasy of a little half-black baby. Let's say he doesn't want to do that for you. Oh, I'm not racist. My son is half-black. Really now. You're allowed to have your preferences even if they're racist. And you know what? I'm not going to pretend that a bunch of fucking heifers are healthy. As far as body shaming goes, you know what? I'm tired of getting body shamed by heifers. I'm tired of whales making fun of me for being scrawny. I'm tired of chunkies making fun of me for being skinny. I'm tired of female predators playing victim and getting away. I'm tired of the cops not doing their jobs for homeless men. I'm tired of all of American society blaming everything on mental illness. What is that mental illness from? Primarily PTSD, from having to deal with American women. Oh, there's men that absolutely love women. There really are. They're the men who use you for your vagina and throw you away because they have options. That guy that you got a crush on, no, he's never ever going to give your fat ass a chance. No matter how much you whine, because what he's going to do is he's going to go out to the bar, and he's a good-looking man. He's going to leave the bar with someone. Probably someone better looking than you. Probably someone who painted on their face. Probably someone who is highly superficial. But then again, your fat ass is superficial too. You want the good-looking man. Are you going for the fatty? Are you going for a fat dude? Eventually, you'll stop whining that Channing Tatum won't touch your vagina. And you might eventually settle for a fat guy. You might. Of course, you might fuck up all of your chances by a guy who's really genuinely a nice guy. You've blown your tire on your car. You're waiting for a good-looking guy to stop by. When this guy stops to offer you help, he might have been the best match in the world for you. He might have overlooked the fact that you're a fat fucking heifer. Because he's a fat fucking heifer. You know what? I was a fat fucking heifer once too. I still have stretch marks from being a fat fucking heifer. But no, even though she doesn't have a boyfriend, and she's lonely, and she's whiny and fucking complainy, she tells him, I have a boyfriend! Okay. Change your own fucking tire. Then she's gonna complain for weeks that no guy stopped to help her. Meanwhile, how many guys actually stopped? How many guys offered help? They just didn't have the right look, apparently. And we got public transit. After Natalie died, I was in the bus in Denver, 16th Street Mall. And there was some white girls on there complaining about their white girl fucking first world bullshit. Nobody gives a fuck about your Louis Vuitton bag. You know how many women I know have lots of little trinkets like that, but don't have a vehicle? You know how many women I know, their mommy and daddy bought them a vehicle, and still they have to gold dig and raw dog? Because what's more important to her? If he's chauffeuring her around and paying other people to chauffeur her around, and she can just call a taxi and spend $250. Call up a tow truck, $350 for the tow, and then a brand new tire. So you're talking about $450 to $500. You could have pulled the fucking spare out, changed the tire yourself, driven into town, and aired up your fucking tire. $11 worth of stop leak. Why is car insurance so expensive? Because men, although they primarily do the job themselves, women don't. Women will waste $500 and complain at men who stop to let them know that there's an issue. Get your boyfriend to do it. Now there's some spoofs that I've been playing. It's a man and a woman, and it's about changing a tire. And they make spoofs that they really, it's not much of a spoof. They reenact some of the most popular YouTube and TikTok videos of women flipping the fuck out over tires. Cute. You tell the right lie, and a man's life is over. Look at how expensive it has been to try to keep me from being allowed to speak, to deny my rights as a human being. You know, a woman can harm you today, and then she will go off on a tangent about how women were treated 200 years ago. And do we live 200 years ago, bitch? Fucking Christ. Get over yourself. You can't learn how to change a tire or read a tape measure because women 200 years ago, what? What the fuck does that have to do with today? You tell me not to bring up shit that happened to me 6 years ago that still affects me and I am still abused over. But you're going to bring up shit from 200 years ago. You know, they used to burn women at the stake for talking. You're talking about Christians. And they burn men and women at the stake for talking. You didn't agree with their version of Catholicism? You end up like Martin Luther, burned at the stake. By the way, Martin Luther was a man. In Salem, was it just women who were killed for witchcraft? No. In ancient Greece, was it just women that were not allowed to vote? No. Do we live in ancient Greece? If the answer that you came up with is not no, then you are what's wrong with the world. I got nut jobs telling me that they were reincarnated. Women who are so fucked up out here that they want to tell me hour-long stories about how they used to be the Queen of Sheba or used to be Cleopatra in a former life. I'm Cleopatra! No, you're not. You're a fucking strung-out junkie is what you are. And you're allowed to destroy our lives. You know that you have the power to destroy our lives with a lie. Well, once our lives have been destroyed with one of those lies, and we're not allowed to speak up, we're not allowed to show evidence, we don't even have a public pretender who will fucking do their job. Why? Because most public pretenders are women. And women are not going to have sympathy for a man who's being abused. It's going to be kill all men, kill all men, kill all men. Meanwhile, women are more likely to be a sexual abuser than men. They're just more likely to get away with it. I've been doing a lot of research, and I got to tell you, you can't trust a woman in this country. You can't trust her to be genuine. You can't trust her to be honest. You cannot trust her not to lie and throw you under the bus just because she didn't get a fucking Wi-Fi password. Natalie Bollinger was embarrassed. That wasn't my fault. If she'd have paid attention, she'd have known what was up. If she'd have been honest with her mom would have known what's up. But she wasn't honest with them, she wasn't honest with me, and her predators, and my predators, like Tim Beeson and Ted Bollinger, got away. And I got to depend on alcoholic women who absolutely refuse to take responsibility. Where do false allegations come from? Women who don't want to take responsibility for their actions. They don't want the consequences of their actions. They want something right now. They will make you be patient and wait for literally years. But when you don't do something that they want the very fucking moment that they want it, you're evil, you're horrible, and you're a mansplainer. Every man in the United States should have the right to assisted termination of life. In addition, since we are the primary workers of essential markets, we are the primary workers of the fields. We are the primary builders of houses. We are the primary electricians, road builders, landscapers. Men are responsible for all infrastructure in the United States. Everything that women hold dear is completely devoid of anything that they do. Women are not building houses. The very, very few that are, thank you for not being sexist. Thank you for doing something useful instead of just convenient. Most women's jobs are jobs of convenience. People can't do all this stuff themselves. You're a single father. You got to do your taxes, right? Of course you do. But you're a single father. You also have to pay for a whole lot of stuff. You got to go to work and pay for all that stuff. You got to take care of your kids. You got to go to doctor's appointments. And you have to try to make sure that your kid gets to be a part of activities, gets to socialize, gets to develop. Well, during all that, when are you going to find the time to do your fucking taxes? Go down to H&R Block or some other tax agency. It might be a man who does your taxes. It might be a woman. But that's a non-essential job. That's a matter of convenience. Food, water, and shelter, that's what's important. When women say they don't need a man, well, not after we've done all the work. Of course you don't need me after I've built you a house. You've got a house. Now, if we get rid of all men today, in 6 years, you're not going to have a house. Even if we got rid of all money, along with all men, because you still don't know how to fix a drip under your goddamn sink, let alone carry 70-pound fucking bundles of shingles up onto your fucking roof. Thank goodness there's a lot of women who like to put pictures up all over the place, nicely framed. So there are women who can use a hammer, thank goodness. The woman who changed my tires here in town, she's a woman. She dismounted the old ones, mounted the new ones, and put my tire back on because women are fucking capable. They are capable. Let's see what time it is. No, library still ain't open yet. I gotta piss like a racehorse. For me, every part of my life was systematically disassembled because I told the truth about female predators and the males who were being predatory with them. But I'm not good looking and I'm not rich, and my family are a bunch of child molesters, rapists, and fucking druggies. Which means that I'm alone. Because I am alone, I am easy to take advantage of. See the situation with Shannon Alvarado. Yeah, she made lots of fucking promises, didn't she? Did she keep any of them? No, she didn't. When did she ever, and all that time, try to help turn in Kara Johnson Miles? She never did. She was showing me evidence with Kara Johnson Miles back in May of 2018. And to this day, Shannon Alvarado has literally never tried to help turn that in. Not once ever. Instead, I literally had to break the law to try to get a court date against Kara Johnson Miles and the Bollinger family. It's fucking disgusting. Shannon wants to keep on yelling at me to say, I knew how to expose her! No, you didn't. You never exposed her. You showed me, but you never fucking spoke up. You never spoke up with me. You never made a single fucking call with me to turn that shit in with Kara Johnson Miles. Neither did any of the other fucking lying bitches who claim that they would. Brandon Ratner didn't keep his word. Kayla Trujillo didn't keep her word. Manny Hughes didn't keep her word. Layla Johnson didn't keep her word. Rochelle Shelley Campbell, Danica Garner didn't keep their words. If a woman yells at a man, it's his fault. If she gives him the silent treatment, it's his fault. If he yells at her, he's a narcissist, an abusive narcissist. If he ignores her, he's an abusive narcissist. If he stays, he's an abusive narcissist. If he fucking leaves, then he's an abusive narcissist. Seems to me that we have taught women to be abusive narcissists and to keep it up until they get what they want. And if they don't get what they want, play victim. He's the narcissist. He's the narcissist. Does a woman tell you, when she tells you that a man pushed her, did she tell you that she was beating on him for almost 10 minutes straight beforehand? When Dallas Richmond kicked Harley Richmond out of the house, she refused to leave. When Shannon Alvarado kicked Rick McCormick out of her house, he refused to leave. Shannon Alvarado having a roof over her head, but Rick was dependent upon that roof. Yeah, he laid down and he was a little bitch because she had the power and control. He had to do what she wanted or he loses everything, including his son. How scary is that? Rick McCormick's a piece of shit. He's also recorded on my channel yelling at me. When women do wrong things, between fessing up to it and having men do horrible things for you, so you can say, oh, I didn't do it. It wasn't me, it was Rick. No, I have to constantly look over my shoulder. Constantly, because I am harmed often over slander. I was literally forced to break the law to try to get heard, to try to show evidence. What I want now is for assisted termination of life to be legal for people who are called mentally ill, because they will never have rights in their lifetime. I want assisted termination of life to be legal for men, because we will never have rights in our lifetime. No matter how much we give women, we're not giving enough. And they seem to believe that lying to us is help. What's the difference between a woman and a cop? Nothing.